Alright guys, I'm out here in the woods, and the forecast for tonight is calling for low to mid 30s and possible rain and possible sleet. So what I did was, you guys know me, I'm a hammock camper, and so I took my 10x10 Etowah tarp. And you got to keep in mind, this is a plain old square tarp, 10 foot by 10 foot. And what I did was I put it over my ridge line. I tied my prusiks like I normally do to keep, and tighten them up around it and come down to a stake. And I did that too on either side. And essentially gives me more room on the inside. Now I've also got this big log here that I can use as a bench. I can use it to rest my gear on. Man, I'm really hearing something off in the woods. But I've got a nice fire, and the wind is supposed to be coming from that direction, which is north. And so I've got my shelter to where it can't come in the doors. And I got my nice fire blocked from the wind by this log and by my shelter. I brought the chair down here so I could have a nice night in the woods. And to give you a look inside of here, take out the second loop back. There is the first loop on this side, on the right side here. And between some shock cord and some bank line, I got it pulled over nice and tight. And then I staked out the corners. And on the inside, that's where my pack's going to sit to block any wind coming in. And then what I did was I took some, I don't know if they're walnuts or hickory nuts or what, but I took some of these little nuts I found on the ground, stuck them through from the inside, and put a slippery, Okay guys, it's about 3 a.m. somewhere in that neighborhood. And I slept pretty good so far. But I got a little bit chilly. Not too bad though. I got up to, I had to take a pee and everything else, so I got out of the hammock. I went to put my shoes on and they were damp and cold. And that just set it off. I mean, I was cold, so I started gathering wood, and I still had some coals left from my fire from earlier, so I gathered some small twigs and blew it back into flame, and now I got me a nice hot fire. I'm debating whether or not I want to have my coffee yet. Look at my little thermometer here. 37.6 degrees. And I'm out of cigarettes. Now, if you're a smoker and you've ever been out of cigarettes, you know what I mean. Especially when you first wake up. So far, I mean, the camp out went good. When it got cold, I noticed that my tarp shelter, I had it nice and guyed out and real nice and taut. And as it got colder, it seemed to kind of shrink a little bit. I didn't have as much room inside as I would like. If I had a bigger tarp, it might work better, but I'm just happy to have this nice hot fire going. My shoes ain't wet no more, and I'm not cold no more. All I got on is a t-shirt and my lightweight Polartec fleece. It's not bad out. It's a little chilly, but it's not like burger type cold. Anyway, yeah, so that's me. I'll have to gather more wood here shortly. Just keep this guy going, get me a nice bed of coals. But I'll probably have to go get me cigarettes here shortly too. And I'm all grubby. Anyway. So yeah, that's about it. I need to invest in underquilt, because this homemade crap, it works alright on the Eno for, you know, putting the boundary water bag through, but which I don't think I showed you guys, but I might oh man, my knees are hot. Let's scoot back a little bit. But even in a 20-degree bag and it's 37 degrees, I got a little bit chilly. It wasn't uncomfortable, but it was a little bit chilly. So yeah, if I get an underquilt, I'll be alright. Alrighty. I am making my coffee, and as you can see, I'm still in my hammock, and I'm under my tarp. I got my shoes and my water bottle pressing on the tarp to kind of hold it out a little bit farther. Pocket rocket's going, and I made my coffee a little bit stronger than I normally would, just because I forgot a cup. So when I'm done making it, I've got to pour it back into my bottle, which has still got a little bit of water in it, so it'll dilute it a little bit, and I'll drink it out of my bottle. Actually, I don't mind drinking it out of my bottle, because then when I'm, you know, don't need it, not only do I have a lid on it, but I can use the bottle to stuff down in my sleeping bag to warm up my. But I'm looking forward to a nice cup of hot coffee. Really looking forward to it, and then once I get all nice and warmed up, I'll go out there and get the fire stoked and get really warm. And I'm not worried about how to get it stoked, because I know I've got coals left, and I got tons and tons of firewood out here. It's a perfect campsite, and it's a lot more level than my old campsite. And so yeah. Okay. I've been working on my traps, and I know I need to practice more. And practice a lot more. I found that a big part of triggers like this, trap triggers, is getting it just hairline together. This one here is just barely on there. I need to get that one a little bit better. This one, I got too small of a stick here and too big of a stick here, but I got it together. And granted, this is not the perfect deadfall, but I'm just practicing right now, just getting the triggers right. So let me back this all the way out, and I will try to. And then down here is where you put your bait on the stick. You really get it on there so that when an animal comes up and he has to work to get that off, and he trips the trigger. And ideally this would be a big flat, maybe a split log or something like that, and you'd want it to be heavy. And then something like a, you know, some kind of rodent, whether it be a squirrel or a rabbit or whatever, comes in to get this. He comes in, let me see if I can get this whole thing in here. He comes in, I'm gonna trip it real quick, and he just plays with this trigger a little bit, and it drops on him. Now granted, my trigger work needs improvement. I don't think it's quite sensitive enough, and you get the idea. And I'm gonna continue working on that. and that's going to be one of the things I practice in the coming days or whatever. But anyway, you get the idea. And obviously my deadfall would be a lot bigger. So ideally it'd be something like that. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, I wanted to do some practice with my axe. This is my Gransford Brooks Scandinavian Forest axe. And what I did was, I got tons of dead wood around me, so I went out and I gathered me a chunk of maple. It's dead. And split it and shaved some of the bark off, and now what I'm going to do is practice feather sticks with it. So